30th of April 2019, we're in that holding period about Brexit. What are your thoughts on Brexit, boss?
Well, they should have brought in the broker of brokers and we wouldn't be in this situation because, you have to look at the history of everything. And the history is it's unusual that they gave the vote to the country in the first place. But as it happened and it was voted in, the decision was made. And once the decision has been made, being a democracy, you have to follow through. It seems to me that a lot of background wasn't thought through. It's clear. And a lot of negotiating wasn't understood. But you needed to enter that with the right approach in the first place. No point saying, we're this, you're that. You need to get into the cultures of the two. You're Europeans. We're not dealing with you anymore as direct partners on a daily basis, but we're still dealing with you. It's back to that conversation earlier about breakaways. Just because you break away doesn't mean you don't do business. You might do even more business. And what's been unfortunately said is that this country needs Europe and Europe doesn't need this country. If that was the case, it would have been a very easy departure. So obviously that's not the case. Europe does need this country. And
we need Europe.
We need everyone. We need Europe, we need the world, we need America, we need China. We need to rebrand as a country, as London, a city, but we need to rebrand completely and start to say to ourselves, we have the language, we have the culture, a lot of people trust us throughout the world. We've got a very good reputation. You go anywhere English, you know that. So we've got to use that financial centre, but we've also got to be a little bit more American. We've got a little bit bigger thinking. We've got to also say to ourselves, right, this is obviously, things have to evolve. And again, it's a relation to the wealth gap that's annoyed people. It's definitely not about sort of immigration and people coming here, because everyone, should have an opportunity to go wherever they want in the world and to have the best life for themselves. My grandfather came here many generations ago from Russia with Jewish element. So who am I or the Asians, or who is anyone to tell anyone about that? You're always going to go away from oppression, want to have the best world. But the problem is the governments need to help their own people. You look at Africa, look at throughout the world, India, it seems this country as well. They don't give a damn about the people, and the people have got that message and they're angry.
Do you think the Brexit vote was a kickback against government?
There's a kickback against government, there's a kickback against business, it was a kickback against buy-to-lets. What happened? All of a sudden, all these rules, where did they come from? Brussels. Brussels was all about, you're looking one day and all of a sudden a rule is, I never voted for that.
But what? Okay, but it's funny how we have the same rules in the EU, but it doesn't seem to. I mean, my parents come from a butchery background, so I'm talking health and safety. We've got the same rules in both countries, but they don't seem to be, how can we say, policed as well in other countries. Why? It's almost like when the British get a rule, they have to implement it.
Yeah, we implement it. I know in France and lots of places they go, to hell with it, we've got to do our own thing. What is Europe? Europe is really Germany and France. And it should have been a situation where they said, look, we don't want you to leave. We're going to give you great facilities. I heard rumour that they did actually do that. I don't know what happened there. The deal went pear-shaped. But as that did break down, that relationship, now it's a case of saying, hold on, let's start to look at things, because I know from my research and my intelligence that a lot of money, hundreds of millions, have gone into the hands of solicitors in the last 2 years to find out what this is all about. They're getting solicitors are laughing again. So what a great thing if you're a solicitor. Companies are coming in saying, we're going to give you checks for 10 million, 50 million. These are big numbers, because that's how important this subject is.
Do you think What do you think should happen?
What should happen next? I think that the country should leave, and I think it should be a case of saying, right, well, we're going to leave, but we're going to work together on fundamental elements in terms of borders, security, certain things we need to have cooperation together. We don't want to lose that because we've built up certain things, but we also at the same time want to make our own decisions. But the most important thing, and this is why Theresa May's deal hasn't gone through, her deal is not good for the country long term. You cannot be in a situation where you say, we have to go to Europe and ask them permission to get this deal, and we have to be offering the same terms as they are. What's that nonsense? It's like me saying, broker of brokers, can I check with someone else? No. You want to be free, to be innovative, and to offer deals. They're afraid that they're saying, okay, we know what Europe's offering you, we'll do a better deal. And they want to put a stop to that because they want to maintain, it's about money. Everything in the world is about money.
Thank you.